Hello and welcome back to Focus IR. I am John Human, and a warm welcome back to Dr. Vincent Chien, Chief Operating Officer, International Schools Operator at Fairview International. Welcome back, Vincent.
Hey, John. Thank you for having me back.
No problem at all. Always good to speak. And today we're going to be speaking about some very good news from the company. The company's maiden full-year trading update since coming to market last October, and it's a really solid update. Some really strong figures in there, some solid revenue growth, some fantastic operational successes that are driving that, and some very promising indicators of future growth ahead. But Vincent, let's perhaps start with the numbers, the highlights on that front. Tell us what's been going on.
Well, I think two key things to know is, first of all, our revenue is up 6% year on year, driven by our enrollment growth, which is at about 9% year on year as well. What's really great is that this growth was delivered with a really tight cost base. So margins have been improving very nicely.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, you know, the year ahead, we won't have the IPO costs to contend with as well. So, yeah, very promising on that front, especially the sort of cost-based management. You mentioned that enrolment is up 9%, and that really speaks to the demand for the quality of education that are offering. What's driving that strong growth, which has continued into the new year, and how sustainable is it?
You know, I think there's two factors at play over here. Well, the first one is really macroscopic in nature. In the last year, we've seen quite a big expatriate inflow into the country, the highest since 2018. 154,000 expat passes were issued last year in 2024. So we can see that trend shooting up. And we've also seen on the ground a lot of Chinese families coming into Malaysia from mainland China, I think primarily driven by improved relationships between Malaysia and China. The second thing that's really driving demand for us is our academic performance. We recently ranked again the top 100 IB school in the world for the 6th consecutive year, and the number 2 IB school in Malaysia with a 100% IB diploma pass rate and an average of 35 points in the class versus, say, a global average of 30 points.
Yeah, and it's absolutely extraordinary, the educational outcomes there. So first of all, many congratulations on that front, Vincent. The other interesting thing to note, I think, about enrolments and actually the sort of makeup of the student base at the moment is that it's sort of skewed towards the younger years, which obviously bodes extremely well for the future. Perhaps tell us a bit about that.
Well, with 94% of our students in the primary and the middle years, the retention going into the IB diploma program is really strong, with about a 30% transfer rate. If you take it all together, you know, what we're looking at is great macroscopic sort of factors, great quality of product, and a good structure to our consumer base.
Yeah. So, and this is very much a structural story, a structural growth story for Fairview, not a cyclical one in any respect. Just sort of give us a feel. You know, you mentioned sort of those macro factors that are sort of helping Malaysia more generally and helping the education sector. But how does your growth compare to kind of other educational providers in the country?
Absolutely. I think figures for international school growth aren't obviously available for this year. It's a bit too fast, perhaps. But what we're really leaning on is perhaps maybe the GMI research studies, which indicate that we should be looking at a 6.1 CAGR growth rate from now until I think it's about 2030 or so. At 9% growth, as compared to that 6% growth that's predicted, we're expanding at nearly 50% faster than the national sector baseline. We are basically outgrowing the market in a competitive, mature market. And this really demonstrates the strength of our product and the steadiness of this organization.
Yeah, indeed. And of course, tapping into growth is one thing, driving revenues higher is one thing, but doing it profitably is the most important thing of all. So what's been done on that front? You've already alluded to careful discipline, cost management. What are you doing on the cost base, on the operational cost base, to ensure that profitability comes through from that rapid growth?
Absolutely. I think one of the things that we spent a long time this year thinking about what we really stand for, and a key word came to mind for all of us, and it's substance over show, in that we invest in things that really matter. Yes, it's cost discipline, but we still do invest in what moves the needle. For example, great teachers, good teaching experiences, that moves the needle, not fancy football fields and big swimming pools that only serve maybe a marketing sort of purpose. Furthermore, if we take a look at both campuses, they have spare capacity still. So all new enrollments are flowing straight into the margins without any additional capex.
Yeah. I mean, the schools are obviously now cash generative as well, as the update suggests. You do have that excess capacity, which means that you don't have to invest heavily to benefit from that future growth. But you are cash positive. What are you going to do with the cash flows? How are you planning to invest that?
Oh, absolutely. There are three main areas that we're going to be looking at. One is we want to invest in people. Now, it's a top secret still, but we're really looking at how we're going to be helping our staff with maybe salary increases or professional development budgets or well-being. We're really looking deeply into that at the moment to make sure that if we take care of our teachers, they'll take care of our kids. And further, we want to invest in enhancing the product. We all know about this wave of AI and the demand of our children, the demand for our children to be AI literate. So we'll be investing in that sort of front to see how do we help our children be future ready. And finally, of course, the big ticket items. We are really looking at selective expansion, exploring partnerships in the UK and in Southeast Asia, where there's a rising demand for IB education.
Yeah, indeed. And obviously the investment in quality that you've alluded to there really presumably helps you, attract the right partners for this expansion.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So first full year as a listed company in London. Obviously things perhaps change in a company when you become a public company. What's been different this year? How have you had to change since coming to market?
So the first year, it's really taught us how to be disciplined. Before we were a public listed company, I think there was a little bit of cowboy. People were doing whatever they thought was the right thing to do. But now that we are a listed company, there's been a lot of accountability and responsibility drilled into our teams. The KPIs have gotten a lot stronger. The governance frameworks are stronger. There's more transparent reporting that's happening within the organization. I think the cultural impact has been really energizing. Like, staff are taking pride in the fact that we are a part of a public listed organization, not just some other random school anymore. And this really helps with standards internally and with recruitment, with a lot of people who want to be a part of this amazing story. And visibility in all these capital markets, it also helps strengthen our credibility with our partners, our agents, our vendors, and our regulators at the same time.
Indeed. But it's certainly you're a fantastic addition to the London markets and a very unique asset in education on the London markets. So brilliant year. What comes next? What are the strategic priorities for the next 12 months and perhaps a little bit beyond?
So I have to be careful not to overpromise over here. So keeping the enrollments faster than the 6%, aiming at that 9, 10, 11% sort of zone, making sure that we sustain that growth and not go too fast. We want sustainable growth. We don't want explosive, unsustainable growth. Secondly, is we need to maintain our academic leadership lead. We are probably the leaders in the IB delivery in Malaysia. And we need to stay on that path and continue to be the spearhead for the IB programs in Malaysia. We will also be looking to develop the organizational maturity with things like governance and cost discipline. And of course, finally, that sort of strategic expansion that I shared about, that's always on the cards. We're always looking for good opportunities to grow into.
Yeah, indeed. Lots and lots to look forward to, it seems, and a very, very strong first full year on London markets. Before we actually get the full numbers, I think it's October. That's right, isn't it? The full results coming out in October. Vincent, congratulations on a brilliant year and your first year on the London markets. Thank you.